friend Bill graciously allowed us to use his home in Aspen as our base of operations here. It's a beautiful home, lots of space. I love the fountain or the stream that's pumped down to the... So the stream apparently is piped under the house and it continues out into a very nice backyard with beautiful flowers. Kirk and I headed downtown and had breakfast at this very popular spot. I dropped Kirk off in town and went back to Bill's house to edit and post a video. When I finished, I picked Kirk back up and we took a little tour of town. This is the Elks building, I believe. Aspen is one of the most expensive real estate markets in the country. In 2020, the average single home sold for $11 million and 9 sold for more than $25 million. Of course, Aspen was founded as a silver mining boomtown in the late 1800s, and it was named for the beautiful aspen trees in the area. There's a portion of Aspen that is named the Rodeo Drive of Colorado because every top-line retailer seems to be represented here. This is the City Hall for Aspen, which is the county seat of Pitkin County. My developer friend Jim tells me that every proposed new development in Pitkin County is controversial. We decided to ride the gondola to the top of the mountain, which was about $39 as I recall. A ski lift in the winter is about $175, according to what the attendant told us. And while Kirk was buying the ticket, I looked at this very interesting statue. The 10th Mountain Division was formed in 1943 and fought in the mountains of Italy. It was inspired by the Finns. They had soldiers on skis that destroyed 2 Soviet armored divisions. After we got our tickets, we took the gondola to the top of the mountain and enjoyed a spectacular view of the surrounding area. As you can see, it's 11,200 feet high, and we could see Aspen Highlands immediately adjacent to us. They were serving lunch at the top of the mountain, but we opted to jump back on the gondola and drive to Vail Village, which neither one of us had been to in some time, although Kirk has skied here many times. It's still very charming. We walked out and had a look at the base of the mountain. Unlike Aspen, the gondola was not running at the time. After leaving Vail, we drove to the outskirts of Denver and spent the night at a Sheraton hotel, which I now think is owned by Marriott. And the rooms were fine, good price. I looked out the window and could get a view of downtown Denver, so we were still some number of miles away. After breakfast, I drove over to the Tesla Supercharger, and immediately adjacent to that were 6 Electrify America chargers who were being maintained by this electrician who was actually from Houston. I picked up Kirk and we headed for Denver, where we planned to do a bit of exploring. On the way in, we could see the skyline. Our first visit was to Hammond's Candy Company. I found this on TripAdvisor, and it purports to be the largest handmade hard candy manufacturer in the world. Our tour guide was appropriately named Candy, and we joined a group of young children who were fascinated with this entire process.
Alright, guys, welcome to Hammond's Kitchen. Let's opportunity to inspect the product before it's packaged. So if it's broken, or the swirl's not right, or if it's just ugly, they'll take it off of the line, and then we will get them to hand out on all of our tours. They edge them up, they will cut them into smaller ones, wrap, label, package it, and that will be shipped across the world. Let's see. And this is our only factory and retail store that we, such as sriracha cheddar, churro, birthday cake, chocolate, honey peanut, cheesy pizza, and plus a couple of other flavors.
So we visited the gift shop and I bought a few things, and here's a bonus. If you write a note in the comment that you actually saw this part of the video, I'll put your name in a drawing and the winner will receive a few of these world famous candy canes. So enough for the candy. Back in the car, passing the Denver Sports Stadium, which is a very interesting structure. Kirk suggested that we visit the Denver Art Museum, which has an American art wing, which is supposed to be world famous. So that sounded like a good idea to me. So off we go to downtown Denver to see that museum. So we found a parking place and walked to the cultural center, and I must say this was very impressive. We went to the Denver Art Museum, bought a ticket, and found out the American Art exhibit has been remodeling for 5 years, as it turns out. So there are only 2 exhibits open, and so we went to both of them, the first being an exhibit of 19th century European and American artists. On the left is a Renoir that I liked, and on the right is another French Impressionist whose name I forgot. A nice Van Gogh. Kirk pointed this one out to me. The gentleman on the right was purported to be Robert Louis Stevenson, who was best known as an author of children's stories such as Treasure Island. He spent some time in Paris, but he died in American Samoa at age 42 as a troubled person. The other exhibit had some works by an African artist that were very colorful, and I would have to say a bit unusual. We walked across the Cultural Center campus, past the City of Denver Public Library, to go to the Denver Historical Museum. And there was a number of exhibits in there that I liked as well. As we walked back to the parking lot to get our car, I noted that there was a Tesla mobile service car servicing a Model X. I asked the technician what he was doing, and he said he was replacing a window actuator. Tesla's a bit unique in that they often will send a service van to your home without your needing to take the car in. Kirk was leaving from Denver to Atlanta first thing in the morning, so we drove out to the Denver airport and booked a room. He wanted to take me to Elway's for dinner, so we hopped in the car and drove about 6 miles, only to find out that the steakhouse was actually in the airport, which we didn't want to do. So we came back and wandered around for another 15 miles or so before we happened upon this very nice Italian restaurant within walking distance of our hotel. We had a very good Italian dinner, complete with a few toasts to a great trip and over 55 years of friendship.